Okay, so I'm talking about the de-risking and seeding program, the adoption of key management practices for the success of early and dry sown crops. So it's a bit of a hefty sort of a title. There it is again. So I'm Rachel May. I'm the Farming Systems Adoption Officer for the SA Drought Hub. I'm actually employed by Ag Excellence Alliance to do that Drought Hub role. And if you don't know who Ag Excellence Alliance is, probably the closest thing that I can refer you to is the Grower Group Alliance. So we're very similar, but we do it without the government funding that you guys get, and we are supporting about 20 farming systems groups, whereas you're supporting many more than that. We have 3 full-time employees and 2 contractors, so very same but different to the GGA. And I've asked Ravi to come and talk as well, just to give a bit of a more local perspective on this project. Despite the name, it's also a bit of an exercise in cat herding, I've discovered. So a little bit about the project. The main objectives of the project are to mitigate the impacts of the increasingly erratic seasonal rainfall and to improve drought resilience of our cropping systems. So with this project, it's not a research project. It's funded through the FDF extension and adoption grants, so the extension and adoption of drought resilience farming practices. So it's taking a wide range of past and current research and information and putting it into extension programs to be delivered by grower groups to drive adoption. All those grower groups have the opportunity to design their own projects which are relevant to their own regions. So there's the scope of the farming systems groups involved. So we've got 14 farming systems groups spread across Western Australia, South Australia, Victoria and New South Wales. The project is led by Ag Excellence Alliance. It runs for 2 years, so it's gone from July 2023 through, and it will finish up in June next year. So it's given us 1 growing season. The intended reach of the project is to reach 4,000 cereal and mixed farming systems across that area. So when we're talking about the groups all being able to design their own projects, so they consult with their farming systems groups and their farmers to determine what the key aspects of pretty much crop establishment and using early and dry sown crops as part of their crop establishment. So some of them are looking at time of sowing, long coleoptile varieties, pre-emergent herbicides, disc versus tine systems, sowing depth, a whole range of different things, and you saw a bit of that with the Corrigan group just there, and Ravi's going to tell us a little bit more about what FACEY group has been doing as well. Another component of this is that all the groups that involved with this project are upskilled in extension practices to sort of try looking at different ways they can do extension better to have a greater impact and lead to greater adoption going forward. The project is particularly relevant for this season in particular and going forward into a changing climate where across southern Australia we're seeing later breaks to the season. We've got drier winters and hotter springs and maybe wetter summers. Not something we've really experienced in South Australia anyway. So the first part of the project was to carry out a baseline survey just to determine where our farmers sit in their knowledge and understanding of dry and early sown crops. So we put that survey out online, and we used the questioning as well in farmer workshops and face-to-face things to generate discussions. We had 200 responses from that survey. I guess the key learning from that was that 86% of farmers will dry sow some or all of their program for various reasons, but that amount depended from season to season and also the area that was early or dry sown. So it could have been only 5% of their crop, or in this season, especially in West Australia and South Australia where we had a very dry start, many farmers were seeding 100% of their crop dry. But only 55% of those farmers felt that they were really confident in doing so. And that's some of the reasoning that they have taken on dry and early sown crops. The biggest reason was to get their program in time. So with larger farms, staffing being an issue as well, they have to start early if they're going to get their whole crop in a reasonable time. Other reasons, making the most of subsoil moisture, which is really a key that we have seen in South Australia, especially this season with the dry start. Those areas that were able to capture that subsoil moisture and through summer weed control and other farming practices to conserve that subsoil moisture actually did okay. And just some of the other points there are better crop establishment to avoid those hot dry finishes, to get early ground cover and some early stock feed as well. And that's Tina from Facey, some of you know her. Ravi will hopefully tell us a little bit about the survey delivery that they did there. Tina actually got on the header with the farmer and actually she had a captive audience, they couldn't run away, and she got those questions covered off there. So it was really effective. So the activities delivered through the project, we're doing 32 demonstration sites, 11 knowledge exchange groups, so that's peer-to-peer groups, focus groups, group mentoring. There's been 49 events, so field days, workshops, forums, that kind of thing. 25 extension materials, so videos, podcasts, case studies, technical reports, and 72 promotion opportunities, so social media, newsletters, things like that. So some of the groups, that's Central West Farming System. They're looking at the time of sowing and pre-emergent herbicides. That's Corrigan Group, looking at long coleoptiles and seeding depth. And that's them doing their sticky beak day evaluation. Murray Plains Farmers, they were looking at, so that's in South Australia, looking at lentil establishment. And this project originally came about because of a project that Murray Plains Farmers did with the Drought Hub, looking at time of sowing with canola, and the project has sort of evolved to be this, what it is now. And Birchip Cropping Group, so they were looking at seeder setup, so looking at disc versus tine systems and how that's affecting their crop establishment. And I just wanted to highlight this group here. This is the Upper North Farming System Spring Sticky Beak Day, where they're looking at disc and tine varieties and pre-emergent herbicides. So this is at Bullaroo, which is in the upper mid-north of South Australia. It's, it's marginal sort of cropping area at the best of times. They would normally capture about 230 mil rainfall for their growing season. This year they got 83. So they've been running on decile 0. This photo was taken in September, so you can see the crop around them is sort of slowly dying. So it's a bit disheartening for them. But through this project, the amount of discussions that has been generated around the topic this season, especially across all of South Australia and probably New South Wales as well, has been so beneficial. This group here is really, really keen to see this continue, that they've got lots more questions to answer and things to tackle there. So even though despite they may not reap any results on this trial, it has generated really good discussion about their decision making going forward. So the project is, so like I mentioned, all the participants in this project have completed extension and adoption training with Jeanette Long, who's one of our South Australian exports. She's a cracker. And in those workshops, they've learnt about how farmers learn, their different learning styles, and how to deliver effective events going forward. So the groups, they may not be doing anything too radical in their extension, but they're just trying different ways of presenting data and presenting information to get a message across, and that's been really beneficial. And we're also looking at making our evaluations simpler and more effective as well. Then Ravi, I'll just invite Ravi up to give an overview of how this project has been rolled out in a local level with FACey.
Thanks, Rachel. Now I'll take you through the journey, what we at the FACey group has done with the de-risking seeding program. So how did we start? We start with the conducting surveys because farmers' thoughts are important in our trials. So we conducted 15 different surveys. So among them, 70% are doing mixed farming. We also discussed with our R&D committee, some of the local agronomists and researchers. So we came out with the two different ideas, long season barley and lupin. Now I'll start with the long season barley. So the first question is why barley? Because it's frost and salt tolerant, and these are the key issues in our region. And some of the research has done in Eastern Australia shows the early sowing barley is actually yielding higher than the late sowing barley. So we decided to sowing barley on the 26th of April, which is just after the Anzac Day. And we tested 3 different varieties in our trial. So first is a Newton, which is winter barley, and Le Perouse and the other pre-release variety. Those are the long season barleys. So what else we did in our trial? So we grazed in 3 different phases. So we started after the 8 weeks, which was in June, and following by July and August. You guys are laughing how hungry sheep were. Oh, so yeah, we grazed in 3 different phases and 3 different sections with the numbers of 1, 2, and 3 numbers of the grazing time during the season. And during our field days, what we found is like growers were quite interesting because how the barley was recovering even after the heavily grazed. So that can be the potential opportunity in some of the challenging year. And this year is perfect example because we had a really dry start and it's hard to get the pasture establishment during that time. And here you can see in the last picture, there are the different maturity stages. The Newton barley, which has sown 20 days earlier than the rest of the paddock, which was Maximus, and still it's looking good, looking green, and yeah, it's recovering well as well. So growers are interesting to see the harvest data to see if they can do potential trade-off with the grain. Now I'll take you through another project, which is de-risking lupin. So lupin is key break crop in our region because it's fixing the nitrogen and improving the soil health. So there is one newly released variety which is called Rosemount from AGT this year, and it has recommended for the soft finish. So we decided to compare Rosemount and well-established variety which is called Jurian. And this photo is showing so we compare Rosemount and Jurian with the plant establishment, nodulation, and the maturity and yield. So what we found in nodulation, here you can see the 2 different photographs of the nodulation. And Rosemount actually has the bigger nodules and higher nodules, and we are looking forward to see the soil data to see are they actually producing or like developing more nitrogen, fixing more nitrogen in soil or not. And during our field days, farmers and agronomists and FACey group evident that Rosemount is late maturing by 7 to 10 days than the Jurian. And what we found in yield, so we found some interesting data in yield because one of our treatment where we applied wetter and another one where we sowed in absence of wetter. So we found Rosemount is actually yielding higher where wetter was applied, and yeah, Rosemount is yielding higher where wetter was absent, and Jurian was actually yielding higher where wetter was applied. So we are looking forward to see the data from the farmer's header and analyze those data to see is it correct data or not. And these insights going to get informed to help the farmers in our region to get informed decisions in sowing time, variety selection, and the application of wetter or use of wetter. and that can be helpful in the productivity and profitability in our regions. Thank you. I'll ask Rachel to wrap up.
Okay, thanks, Ravi. So that's a good demonstration of how the group was able to design their project to suit their farmer and the needs of what their farmers want. So being able to have that flexibility has been really beneficial. So going forward, this project has probably raised more questions than answers, and identified more gaps that farmers are wanting to know more information. So we're hoping that we can continue this project one way or the other. We've put in for a landscape resilience grant to look at more, at soil water in the landscape and how we can utilise and capitalise on that subsoil moisture going forward. So in the meantime, if that project is successful, we won't have anything really happening until 2026. So in the meantime, for South Australia, our SA Drought Hub will be supporting our 6 farming systems groups that are currently involved with this project to continue this work for 2025. So to keep that momentum going, and we really appreciate the support that's come through there. All the groups that have been involved with this project, the 14 groups, are keen to be involved further. And yeah, the other thing we're currently doing is just finishing up with the evaluation process for the next 6 months. So at the moment, all the groups are sort of gathering the data from their demonstration sites to get that extensions happening out further to early in the new year. And then going forward, final evaluations. But I guess just to reflect on the success of the project and why it's worked, I think the group's been able to have ownership of their own projects and to deliver it in a way that suits them has been really beneficial for them. They're not being told how they need to be delivering stuff. So they've been able to tie it in with events that are already happening, as well as standalone events. It's helping support the extension of work that's already happening out there. So there may be GRDC funded projects already happening, GRDC for an example, but others as well. So it helps build and bring together all that information. So farmers are getting sort of one lot of information rather than bits and pieces from all over the place. It's been really great working across all of these groups. I think everybody has sort of come together. We've all got to know each other really well. So we're already on the front foot going forward if we were to continue with this project. The other thing that's worked really well is that this season has been, dare I say it, it's been perfect for this project. It's not very often when you have drought projects. Usually you have a drought hub project, it rains, so this one, yeah, all the ducks aligned. And all the cats at the end of the day are happy. And I'd just like to thank all the project partners. So that's the 14 grower groups involved with the project, and we've also had really good support from the drought hubs across South Australia, Southwest WA, the Vic Hub and Southern New South Wales Hub. So that's it.